How's it, everybody? Welcome to the Empire's Call. My name is Alistair, and in this episode I will be discussing and reviewing the Hungarian Grand Prix that happened just this past weekend at the Hungaroring in Budapest, Hungary. Now, for many of those of you who have seen my video before, you know that I'm a big Ferrari fan, so I'll be getting into them in just a moment though. On the race itself, I must say I enjoyed the race, but it was a little bit boring, a little uneventful in what happened on the weekend. To give you an example though, only one driver out of all 20 actually had an issue with their car, and it wasn't even an accident. Roman Grosjean apparently experienced a water pressure problem in his engine, which means that unfortunately he could not finish the race. The only real duel that was worth watching was that between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the race yet, the race was won by Lewis Hamilton, then it was Max Verstappen, then it was Sebastian Vettel. But what was amazing to see is that Sebastian Vettel in a Ferrari, who was in third place, was more than 60 seconds behind the leader at the end of the race. Every driver from fifth position down was lapped at least once in the race, lapped from fifth position, and Robert Kubica in last place was lapped 3 times. In one race, 3 times by both Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. So that for me was just unbelievable though. But apart from that though, there was some good competition between some of the drivers in the midfield though that was a bit entertaining to watch. A lot of them were very close to one another for large periods of the race, but it has to be said though that the race between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen was the thing to watch. Max Verstappen got a pole position, his very first one, the 100th driver to get a pole position in Formula 1 history, and so they've had, I think, about 1,009 races, so it just goes to show how dominating a lot of drivers have been in the pole position era, to hold pole positions in the era. Max Verstappen drove absolutely fantastically for most of the race, so he really did. But it was very disappointing to see the decision that Red Bull had made not to follow up with a pit stop just after Lewis Hamilton, I think after his second or third pit stop. I mean, Mercedes made a fantastic gamble, or call, if you will, with regards to making a pit stop with I think about 20 odd laps to go. For a pit stop for fresh tyres. It was a gamble and worked out very much in their favour. I don't know if it was just very well calculated or if it was just a gamble that worked in their favour. I'm really not sure, but it worked out well. Red Bull, though, really let Max Verstappen down in not taking the pit stop. Basically what happened is they decided that with all the tyres, he should go just carry on driving as fast as he can, with Hamilton being considerably behind. But what they didn't take into account is, well, firstly, the sheer speed that the Mercedes cars have, and B, the considerably younger and fresher tyres that Hamilton had at his disposal, which allowed him to claw back a huge gap between the two drivers to eventually take over the lead. I think it was the third last lap of the race, and then just come out with the win. I mean, it was a great drive by both drivers. I mean, Max Verstappen at times made that car seem twice as wide as it actually is, which is just coincidentally enough, or interestingly enough, 2 meters wide exactly for each Formula 1 car. So he made it seem like it was half the track width wide at certain times, but he just could not keep up with Hamilton or to stay in front of him. And eventually he took some fresh tyres, I think with another 2 laps left to go. 3 laps left to go after he was just taken, so that he could blitz the fastest lap, which I believe he did get, to get that extra point, which has now been introduced into Formula 1. If you do get the fastest lap, you then get an extra point. What was hugely concerning for me, and something I just struggle to understand, is how the Ferraris were more than a minute behind the race leader. More than a minute. Vettel was fortunate enough, through good driving obviously and tyre selection, to pass Charles Leclerc to make third place, but with a car that apparently is the fastest down the straights, I could not understand how the Ferraris could be that far behind in a race like this at the very end. Maybe if it was under 30 seconds, I could have understand, but a minute. And then for all the other drivers to be a lap or more behind both Hamilton and Verstappen is just I don't get it. I don't know what Ferrari's problem is. I don't know. Like I said in my last episode, they just need to sort something out though. They cannot be this bad for this long. It just is insane. Bottas though had a little bit of a tough one. Shame in the beginning of the race, he broke his front wing when Hamilton wanted to pass him. I think it was within just the first few corners of the very first lap, and that just pegged him back. He was then pegged back with a long change for his nose, his front wing and nose to be replaced, and he just couldn't keep up though. I don't know how Hamilton's car can be so quick, but not Bottas. So I'm not going to really dig into that one. That was very interesting to see. As I said, guys, it was uneventful for a large part of the race. Nothing, not like the race in Germany. I mean, that was just on another level. I mean, we just had two contrasting races here. Really, it was just unreal to see. But it was a good race, though. It was a good race. It was just the guys got out there, they raced. There was no interference from the stewards. They did what they needed to do, and at the end of the day, the better driver won. Could I say the better driver won? Because Verstappen just drove so well. It was a sort of a letdown by his pit manager, the management of his team to not have gone in. What they should have done is pitted the very next lap after Hamilton did towards the end of the race, so that the race would have been so much more closer, and Verstappen may very well have won the race. I mean, we'll never know, but we can only assume that that's where it would have gone, and I think that would have been the best option for them. So in my opinion, I'm going to go for a not out on this race, because it was no accidents and only one engine failure. It was a good race. I was very happy to see how it went. I'm very curious to see how the next race will go, because the Ferraris are going to have to do something. They are going to have to. It's now becoming a two-horse race between Hamilton and Verstappen in the driver's title. And although Ferrari fortunately have been doing well by getting third and fourth place, and Pierre Gasly and the other Red Bull further down, they are still in second place for the Constructors' Championship. But if they don't do something very fast, it is going to be a very, very difficult for them to hold on. And Vettel, if he doesn't start picking up any more wins, or Leclerc for that matter, Ferrari are going to go another year without a driver's title or a constructor's title, and it's going to be very hard for Matteo Binotto, the team principal, to keep his job. I think that he should. I don't think that Ferrari should make the mistake of replacing a new team principal every year or every second year. They need to stick with one guy, let him manage the team the best way he can, and I'm sure the results will come. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to watch this video. Please do remember to like this video, to subscribe to this video, and to get your bell on. Also, leave any comments. So if maybe you felt differently about the race, I would very much like to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, guys, take care. Cheers.